I get asked about recommendations for Dragonstaff specs all the time. And so I've made this video for you just so you know what my staff is like, what my preferences are, and so you can have a bit of idea as to what's going to be best for you when purchasing your Dragonstaff. So I live in Australia, and uh, Australia's leading dancing fire gear brand or shop is called Three Worlds. They have an amazing array of gear, and they also have really amazing dragon staffs. They have quite a few different versions, from a solid pole to collapsible poles, from aluminium poles to carbon fiber. I personally like a collapsible pole because it means that I can break it apart and I can travel with it, whether it's to do a performance, to go to music festivals, or just so I can keep it in the car without it taking up too much space. Also, it's really helpful for traveling overseas on a plane. You can break it down and fit it into a really small size, like into a backpack almost. So it fully breaks down, which is really cool. And they've increasingly made the design even more effective to break down. So it's really easy to do now and really nicely modified. So my personal recommendation is a collapsible staff because you're more likely to take it with you anywhere and everywhere. A solid staff can sometimes just get in the way, and um, yeah, it can just be really big, so sometimes you might not use it. However, a solid staff can be good if you just prefer to just have it as it is, and that's good. The next thing is the material. So aluminium is a lot more delicate. I prefer the carbon fiber because it's a lot more kind of indestructible. So it's a really strong material, and you don't have to worry about accidentally stepping on your stuff, or hopefully not driving over your stuff with your car or something like that. Um, it's really durable, so it won't bend. Any slight denting or bending or difference into your staff itself can really throw off the momentum, the weight distribution, and the whole experience of your dragon. So for me personally, I really like to have the carbon fiber for peace of mind that it's going to stay in shape. And then yeah, the collapsibleness is good. The aluminum is just at a lower price point, so if that's what you need, then that's also a really nice way just to get a dragon staff into your hands. In terms of the grip, generally there is either silicone or EPDM. EPDM is a type of rubber. I used to always use EPDM in the beginning. It's usually a black rubber that's kind of wrapped um, around the staff. I really liked EPDM. I just found that for the most part, they tend to um, leave a lot of black on your skin when you sweat or when it's raining, or just kind of leaves a lot of black. So it just kind of comes off the rubber. And that didn't really feel good for two reasons. One is obviously aesthetic reasons. I don't want to look dirty. But also in terms of not just cleanliness, but also health and well-being. I don't really like the idea of plastic or dyes or whatever particles coming off into my skin. The skin is the largest organ on the body, and we absorb things through our skin into our bloodstream. So just a thought. Um, there are maybe some EPDM grips that don't leach out into your skin. I just personally haven't experienced that yet, but there might be. So I like the silicone grip. The only things about the silicone is that a little bit of sweat or a little bit of rain, it'll just slip right off you. So that's kind of inconvenient, especially because fire is a hot practice. And I'd say I spend a lot of time in Bali and it's incredibly humid and hot, or just even Australian summer when you're trying to dance with the dragon and you're a little bit sweaty. It's really hard to do some more advanced techniques. But the more that you learn, the easier that you can find ways to modify and mediate those challenges. So for me, the silicone is still my preferred option. Again, it's a collapsible staff, so it breaks down. It's got three pieces. This is the center piece and then two side pieces. So, it breaks down into something that can fit inside a backpack, which is really nice. They've just got these um, little joining points, which are pretty good. You just kind of clip them on and then tighten them. Some people tend to have a little bit of problems from time to time about the joining points. They apparently can get a bit loose and things like that. So I've found personally that Three Worlds can be really responsive with any repairs or any assistance. I think they also sell the little pieces by themselves. Um, but again, I've personally not had any problems with the joining points. Sometimes what does happen though is, I guess, it stops to lose grip on the inside, which is kind of what secures it in. Is it can lock in, but it'll just keep spinning and it won't stay together. So for me personally, what I have found in the past when that's happened is the inside of the staff just really needs a clean. And for that, usually, depending on what type of fuel you're using, a lot of fire fuel is actually a cleaning solvent. So we use isopar in Australia. And so usually I'll just take a bit of that on a cloth and then just um, take it around the inside where I want the staff to kind of get a bit of tack and get a bit of grip to stay in. Another option is if you don't have your fill with you, or it's just feeling a bit messy, sometimes a bit of saliva just works. It just creates a little bit of tack and a little bit of grippiness so that it can lock back into place. I've just found that that's happened in the past. Sometimes you're here just spinning it forever and it just won't grip and it just won't stay locked in. So you really want that locked in feeling. Anyway, another thing that happens with the silicone, or I guess probably just with the silicone, is this is the point, obviously, where the collapsible pieces piece together. Over time, the silicone itself, it can expand, it can shrink, it can move, it can slide. And for that, you just, after a while, when it slides and slips around, you just kind of need to fold the silicone in on itself, or you could take a Stanley knife and just cut it so that it's nice and flush with the joining point. But that's normal to happen over time as you use your staff. Um, cool. So then the hubs. So this is the hub. This is the Ultra V something. I don't know. I can't remember which one this is. I think this is the newest one. Sometimes you'll find hubs that are like two pieces that clip together around the staff. This is just a kind of pop, if I can get it. I'll use my right hand. My right hand. Ta-da! So, this is one of Three Worlds versions of the hubs that just kind of pops on and off. I love that so much because, um, yeah, it's just so much easier than the two pieces of the hub that clip together. You kind of need to get an Allen key, and the spokes need to be off the hub in order for you to get the Allen key and the screw in. So it's just a little bit fiddly, but that was one of the OG ways to do it. So yeah, I really love the pop on. That's good. You can also see that it has maybe you can see. Anyway, there's like these little holes and grunt screws. Um, what I like about this hub is that you have the option to have your spokes in a three or in a triangle or in a square in a 4-point position. So that's really nice. I mean, I personally prefer four spokes for a couple of reasons. One reason I prefer four spokes is because I like the shape that it makes, and I like how full the spiral is, whether it's on fire or whether it's a practice one. I just love the dimensionality of it. Another reason why I like the four is because it adds more weight to the ends of your dragon, and that weight creates more drag, and the drag creates more it helps the dragon slow down on your body so that you're not rushing, or you don't feel that the dragon is just super quick and super fast, and it doesn't push you to dance really quickly. So that's why I like the four, for aesthetic reasons and also for drag. Um, it's still really nice. Oh, you can kind of see it this angle. You can see all the little screws and the little different points. So I could make it a three, and it's not going to be like 1, 2, 3. They've actually got different holes, so it will be a nice clean triangle, three spoke shape. So the spokes themselves, then these are obviously my practice ones. They are their claws, which I think are really sexy, really fun. I love the way they look like little blades. I've got the silver, like not metallic, but just silver, which is super fun. And then I also have a pair that is for fire. So the fire spokes are just kind of straight, and they've got a little wick on the end. People might have different types of wicks. They might have, say, like just a normal wrap. They might have like Isis weave spokes. Um, the difference is, say, like an Isis weave is just a lot more sturdy, so it's a lot more durable and long lasting. Maybe it's a bigger wick, something like that, which means bigger fire. I've always just had the normal wrap, which has always been good for me. I just haven't tried the Isis weave yet, but I'm sure it'd be good. If you're just starting, you probably don't need the Isis weave. That's probably more of a professional level, or just like a long lasting, super durable level. Yeah. Over time, your fire wicks will deteriorate just like any fire wicks. So it's great that they are detachable, obviously, so that when the wick starts to deteriorate, you can just buy some new ones. I guess that's why the Isis weave might be a really nice option long term, but it really just depends how much you're burning. Generally, your wicks should last you, at least a year or a couple of years, again, depending how much you're burning. Okay, so I think I covered the staff, collapsible material, carbon fiber, the grip, I prefer silicone, uh, the hubs, and the spokes. So then the last thing is just the height, which is another common question. Drag 3 worlds has 3 different lengths. Depending on where you are, you might have different options. But I personally decided on the length of my dragon based on my height. I chose a dragon that measures up to my third eye. On this video, you might not be able to tell because of the angle of the camera, but my dragon comes up to my third eye. I wouldn't go any longer or taller because I feel like, yeah, it's just far too wide and unnecessary for my body frame. So I would, maybe you want to do the same, is measure up to your third eye and get about that height or the closest height to it. If anything, I would go either that height or even shorter. Even with this staff, I feel like I could probably do a little bit shorter. Yeah. I think the height really just depends on your height. Or if you wanted to do, say, like partner dragon, which is like 2 people using 1 dragon, obviously you would want a longer staff, but that's most people aren't doing that, and that's not super common. But yeah, I hope that answers some questions or thoughts, and really gives you the information that you might need to make your own idea about what you need for your dragon and what you're going to buy and how it's going to support you for all the things. Another important thing is with your dragon, uh, it's easier to use on skin. So, you know, it's the grip is going to change if you've got clothes on. So try not to have sleeves unless you're in a really cold climate. Then you just need to practice and get used to that. If you are in a cold climate and you need to have sleeves on, then it's possible an EPDM rubber could be more grippy than the silicone. I find that the silicone is really slippery on material, fabric, as well as if you're wet or sweaty or anything like that. So that's just another note. I think I covered everything, so hopefully that helps. Big love and blessings, and enjoy your journey with your dragon.